I'm not even going to attempt to put makeup in this heat. I will save you the horror show of watching my whole face melt. Hello. Do you feel like you're a complete loser all the time? Do you feel like you're trying too hard and you're getting nothing in return? Well, don't worry, for I am here to rescue you. I am the preliminary guru of helping you achieve your dreams. I am a pro at getting all my work done without any procrastination holding me back whatsoever. Psst. I conquer my days better than Gary Vee or any of those chums out there. I promise. You already want to punch me in the face, don't you? Don't worry, you can save your energy, for I am none of these things. I have tried, and I have failed. I'm standing on the floor right now, not levitating above you. Hello, welcome, have a seat. My name is Shri, and let's waste some time together. First things first, I am not here to make you the master of anything. At the moment, that is not necessary. My story today is about learning the art of consistency and how I actually got my butt back up enough times to go and practice my craft every day. My craft isn't important to the general point of this video, but for example's sake, I will reference it. I am a writer. My aim is to publish a novel next year around this time, which means a deadline, which means daily work. By the way, I need to fan myself from time to time because Indian weather is not kind. Also, your art doesn't have to be writing just because I'm a writer. You can be anything. You may be a musician or an entrepreneur, a painter or a mathematician. What's important is that I'm going to share with you some principles that are applicable to every creative or industrious field. And speaking from personal experience, the one thing I am certain of is that creative people are the ones who suffer the most when it comes to daily grind. The sad thing about creativity is that we may be born creative, but we weren't born disciplined. So we need to train this The first thing we have to do is organize the clutter. I think there are two types of clutter: environmental and stimulatory. Environmental clutter consists of the junk in your room, your office space, your study area, or your creative workstation. Mental clutter, on the other hand, is tricky, as it can consist of those thousands of YouTube videos that just sit unwatched in your watch later. Let's face it, you're never going to watch those things anyway because of all the new recommended stuff popping up on your homepage every 15 minutes. Other than that, there is video games, even books and movies, which masquerade around as helpful. They are not. You can't really start the process of creation if you're currently buried deep in junk. When I decided that I wanted to start my journey as a writer, I realized that I was never going to be able to do it in my tiny little room. It was a colossal mess. I mean, there were clothes on the floor, there was dust everywhere, and my curtains have never been opened since like 10 years ago. Don't ask. It also showed me that I was kind of rotting away in my own room. I knew I had to take care of these problems before I could even dream of starting to be productive. I started with simple cleaning. The dust had to go, the clothes had to be cleaned, and sunlight had to properly enter my room for the first time. For me to work there, for me to even exist there anymore, it had to smell right and it had to look right. For me, not for anyone else. When I finally ended up beautifying my room as much as I could, I sat there and I actually felt like I could breathe again. It's funny actually, but it's true. It's a simple task, but without it, trust me, you have no room to start. The next thing I needed to take care of in my roster was my rotting health. It's a funny story, but I actually forgot that I always wanted to be a writer for about 12 years. You heard it. I started writing at the wee age of 6, scribbling poems and short stories, most of them incomplete, but I don't know what motivated me since there were no writers around me at the time giving me an inspiration. I was also a very lonely kid and daydreaming was my only best friend in class, but I embraced it. And I think that's what gave birth to these pieces of work. Then my dad died and a horde of issues entered my life after that. And during my teen years, I forgot all about how I loved to be left alone with my daydreams and write the out of anything I wanted. Cut to 12 years later, and I was lying in a hospital bed with complications of diabetes. Yep, the doctor told me that I would be needing insulin soon if I didn't lose weight, which was 300 pounds at the time. This was back in 2017, it was not too long ago. He also told me that I had PCOS and anxiety and high blood pressure rampant, and gave me a pile of medications I could not pronounce. With a thumping heart and tears in my eyes, I didn't know where to turn to. I felt lonely. Then something funny happened. I wrote my feelings down in a sort of poem. I wrote my frustrations, my fears, my anxieties, and my guilts. I found solace, alone, while I was peeing every 15 minutes and suffering from debilitating panic attacks. In a decade-old love for writing, I thought I had lost. When I was released, I immediately rummaged through my old journals, found what I wrote before, and saw how much potential I actually had as a kid, and decided that I was going to stop everything in my life, including enrolling in a university after college, something I was actually planning, and find my peace in writing. But I didn't start writing my novel right away. There was a bigger elephant in the room I needed to address, and I knew I wasn't going to get a single creative idea if I didn't take care of that first. My health, as much as it had deteriorated, gave me hope. It told me I wasn't dead yet. I hopped on my exercise bike, bought a yoga mat, and didn't stop after that. I gave up my plans to go to university for a master's, not only to pursue writing, but to get my health in order first and to get fit again. I cleaned up my diet and ate low carb. I threw away alcohol and smoking out of my life. I gave up friends who couldn't hang out without smoking weed or drinking all the time. The night after my doctor told me that I was now pre-diabetic and that I had lost 88 pounds and that was the reason for that, shockingly, in a span of 6 months, only then I could feel the brain fog lifting away. It was only after that I had several decent ideas for short stories, novels, and screenplays. I could actually think for the first time. I wrote them all down, picked up, and never stopped again. What I'm trying to say here is that you have no idea how much a poor diet and a sedentary lifestyle can contribute to your brain fog, your lethargy, and your procrastination. And unless you address it and do something, it will always be a chink in your armor. India is too hot to make videos or even attempt foundation on your face. The next thing I needed to take care of was to practice my craft daily. This was important because doing it only once in a while would not only work, it'll take me 2 lifetimes to actually get all my ideas in my idea pile completed. Speaking of that, when I first opened the floodgates of writing, I didn't realize that I was going to be bombarded by the other things that I wanted to do. I wanted to write this, I wanted to work on that, I wanted to get this done. It's easy to daydream about doing something and then reaping off the benefits and the success while listening to your favorite song. Doing it is another thing. Now, at the time when I started writing this novel, I was just finishing college. I was also severely unhealthy, looking through universities, and also doing odd jobs here and there and freelancing when I could. During a hectic schedule, my writing was all over the place. I realized that I needed to assign 1 hour each day at the same time to this project, or I was never going to get it done. So in my case, it was morning because it was the only time I wasn't bothered by the outside world or had 100 different things running around my mind. So I would wake up every single day at 5 a.m., have my breakfast, and sit down to write. That was another horrifying story for another time. Doing this every single day was a nightmare, trust me. And I failed so many times, I can't even count anymore. It's crazy. I want to make a video soon someday on how I woke up every single day at 5 a.m. and kept on doing the most important thing, just like right at the beginning of the day, but I don't want to talk about that right now because it's not important for you right now to do it exactly every day in the morning, right when you're about to start your day. You can practice your craft in the morning, at noon, or just before bed, whatever you think is best for you. Just do it every single day at the same time without fail, and let the results speak for you and for themselves. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is perhaps ignored often by many experts because our ego tends to tell us that we can do anything and be anyone. But if you're just starting out or you don't know what to do yet, narrow down your ambitions to the smallest, simplest things only. It's very, very important. Speaking of breaking the floodgates of ideas, when I decided that I wasn't going to do the whole university thing yet, naturally I was panicked about, oh my god, how am I going to make money moving forward? Is this even going to pan out? What am I going to do? So besides writing, I tried to think of a lot of other things I could do besides writing or with writing that was going to make me money eventually. Ooh, it's about to rain. But the point is, when you go out looking for options, you usually go to the internet. The problem with the internet is that it can allow you a variety of options. You could start your own business. You could ghostwrite someone's book. You could start a blog and become a millionaire and work from a beach in nowhere. You could make millions getting into cryptocurrency. While all of these options may look attractive to you, it'll all end up just overwhelming you, giving you extreme bouts of anxiety, and until it just cripples you enough for you to ignore all of it and go play video games or watch YouTube videos. Video games, YouTube videos, and social media, consuming all of this is just easy because you don't actually want to get up and do the work, right? We all desire comfort, so we need to make sure that we transition into doing what we want as simply and narrowly as we can. What do I mean by that? Start with the simplest things. Do what I do. Start by practicing your craft an hour each day, every day. Clean your room and join a gym before making $1 million doing e-commerce. Write a blog for free and test out your skills before trying to ghostwrite an entire book. Practice music and upload it on YouTube for free before wasting money on studio releasing an album. Whatever it is that you do, remember that you can't swallow the entire mountain. You can only eat it one bite at a time. Love hot cocoa. Lastly comes the most important thing that is ignored by everyone on a daily basis, including me and including you. We cannot move forward with our lives and do something, create something truly beautiful, meaningful, and full of self-expression if we don't take care of our mental health. I mentioned something to you about my bad eating habits and my weight gain, which span throughout a decade. Probably why this thing doesn't have any sugar right now. I also mentioned something to you about my blinds that were always used to being closed. They're not right now. This is natural lighting. My disorganized room once upon a time, my dad, and being alone in general. I had issues. And these issues had history. If I ever build up the courage someday to talk about these more openly to you guys in general, I will, slowly. It's a process, but they aren't important here. What's important was my own realization that if I didn't take care of these problems, they were never gonna let me go. Not only that, it would probably end up convincing me, my own brain would convince me that I don't deserve pursuing my dreams. I don't deserve what I think I deserve. So why bother trying? Why even bother practicing, am I right? You have to take care of your mental issues first, because they just would creep up on you someday and you won't even notice it. You have to sort out your mental issues. Seek therapy if you need to. Take medication. If you don't like medication, if you don't like therapy, or if it's out of your budget, then start meditating and start fixing your habits as just the beginning of it. Whatever you need to do, you have to get on top of it, no matter how minor it may seem to you right now. Trust me, it is not. I am not a disciplined artist. Not entirely. My goals were this. Every single day of the week, I wanted to get 6 pages done. In my best, I have done 4. Mostly, I usually get 2 pages written every single day. I wanted to hit the gym 5 days a week. In my best, I've done 3. When I started YouTube, I wanted to make a video every single day. I know we've all been there. At best, I can do probably a video a week. Hopefully. You must be thinking, why am I mentioning all this? You know why? Because it's better than 3 years ago, when I wrote 0 pages a day, when I hit the gym 0 days a week, and when I made 0 videos a month. Something is always better than nothing, and my goal here today is to make you do something today, instead of beating yourself up and procrastinating instead. Write 1 paragraph today. Do 5 minutes of workout, like a walk. Practice 10 minutes of music. Learn 15 minutes of coding. I don't care. Your some things will end up being big things, while your nothings will remain nothing. Now, since I mentioned YouTube, that for me was one of the hardest creative endeavors that I've ever started and continued. And I want to talk to you more about that so you could benefit from it and benefit from my process, but not here. I want to make that a part 2 of this video so that this doesn't turn into 30 minutes long. The reason why I want to do that is because making YouTube videos is not one single creative process. It's actually the amalgamation of many creative processes. And if you're someone who is trying to start out with a complex creative project like that, let's say like filmmaking or starting a business or a company or music production, you know how hard it is to do it single-handedly. So if you want to watch a video like that, turn on notifications for next week so you'll get notified if you're interested. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. You can go to my socials, you can check out my website where I post similar articles like this every week. And on my socials, on my Instagram, I post health recommendations, how I lost about 100 pounds. I post book recommendations. On Twitter, I give writing tips and others. So go check that out. And I am grateful to have you here, and I hope I didn't waste your time. See you next week. I am so bad at this. Just bought it.